Welding is hard. Alright guys, back for the quick video. Before I go to work this evening, I made my goal sorta a little faster than I thought I was going to. Had the scrap pipe laying around and a welding machine, so I figured, how bad could it be? Turns out it's pretty hard. It's not undoable. It's obviously a huge learning curve. I haven't done a whole lot of welding personally, and I haven't done any serious welding in a hobby capacity in years, so I'm riding the struggle bus here a little bit, but I'm not giving up. There's plenty of YouTube videos, ironically enough, that'll help me with this. I have some professional welder buddies I can reach out to help me, but I did want to show you guys that I did mostly complete the hot side. Now bear with me, I'm not a professional welder by any means. It definitely needs a lot of work and some repair, and I might have to start all over again, but that's fine. That's completely fine. That's how hobbies work, you know, and the whole reason I'm doing this is to show you guys, like, there are literally no excuses. If you have the tools and you have the materials, just give it a shot. The worst that happens is you have to do it all over again and you learn something, and that's the whole point of this. No more sitting on the bench. But anyway, without further ado, this is what I got done so far. So if you remember, the guys at Monkey Fab sent this 7875 over, and I had some old truck exhaust piping and some bends and everything else, and I just kind of started cutting and tacking away to kind of see what I could figure out. And like I said, I still have pieces over here I got to swap out and everything else, but overall it's something. It's there, right? Obviously I got a lot of fixing to do and some repairs to do. Might have to phone a friend for some help, but we're here. It's mounted, it's freestanding, it's by itself. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for bracing, because obviously this is a lot of weight for just this end here. Maybe a gusset or some kind of a bracket that goes back to the car or from the radiator support or something. I'm not entirely sure just yet, because I have these two bolt holes on the top. I could make some kind of a mount out of to either go to the engine or from here, or who knows. Anyway, but we have a more or less roughed out, extremely roughed out hot side. I'm trying to get a vision on paper to see what we're going to do from here, or how we're going to move from here. Now, in my haste, I didn't take into consideration the water pump. I was just kind of going to town and figured full send and whatever. And so because of that, it fits. So now, mind you, this is the truck pump, but you can see here as I kind of sit this in place, it doesn't really go into place because the turbo itself, you know, that pipe hits there. If you go the other way, you can kind of get it up in there, and then that outlet is the issue. I might be able to toy with it and get it to work still. Well, here we are. So you see, it kind of goes, but then, like I said, that there is an issue. So, like I said, there's obviously a lot of changes that have to happen still, but it's cool because it's part of the process. We're out here, we're giving it the old college try, and we'll see where we end up. I reutilized the Y pipe from a Silverado. I just kind of cut and tacked some stuff into place here to kind of get this around and try to take into consideration the oil filter. If you guys own GTOs, you know the oil filter's right about there with that adapter. That's kind of close, but it's actually not that bad. I wanted to make sure it was clear of the oil pan and all that stuff, and it was all great in theory. The thing is welding on pipe is hard. It's either too much feed or not enough feed, or too much voltage or not enough voltage. It's a whole thing, but it's not impossible. Plenty of guys that started out where I am and have built whole ass fabrication companies from it. So I'm sure I'll get it figured out before we go racing this thing. But be that as it may, I'm still extremely excited simply because I did get this far on my own, mind you. Obviously, I have a sponsor. Like I said, shout out to Monkey Fabrication, or Monkey Fab Garage, rather. out there in Texas for helping the guy out and believing in what I'm trying to do here, which is get a project that's been sitting entirely too long up and going again. So I'll probably have to reach out to Michael actually for some advice on how to not blow through the walls on the tubing. But other than that, I'm pretty excited to have gotten this far and still trucking, you know. So probably the rest of this week will be spent trying to solve my water pump issue and to figure out the settings on the welding machine to help keep from blowing through the walls like butter. And once I get those figured out, I have a grinder and a cutting wheel and all those, you know, grinding tools to clean it up, take weld out, replace stuff, whatever, to make it right. Because we're going to make it right, or as right as I can, you know. But as long as it doesn't leak, whatever, full send. And then we'll deal with it as the car evolves over time, the project. Because like I said, even this engine here, bone stock 5.3 with an eBay harness on it. So from the engine itself to the turbo kit to possibly even the turbo itself, nothing on this project is permanent, or we're not going to SEMA or nothing. I mean, we probably could from the way those SEMA bills have looked the last couple of years. But we're not going to SEMA or the Riddler Wars like that. We're just trying to get going, keep myself motivated, keep you motivated, and to just get this done, you know. Now, unfortunately, the cold side is a whole nother ball game. I would like that to be aluminum or like a lightweight stainless, which is a whole animal in and of itself. I think I have stainless wire for the MIG machine to weld with. I got to check. And if I do, that won't be too bad, but it's even thinner. So I'll either have to get a TIG machine and tackle the whole learning curve that is TIG welding in and of itself on top of completing the cold side, or get the stainless wire, which I'm 99% sure I have, but it might be in the machine already, and then get the stainless and route it. And I'd prefer to V-band it all and get I still got to get a front mount charge air cooler, not an intercooler. That's for between stages. It's a huge pet peeve of mine. And go from there. I would like to have the hot side sorted in the next week or two, at least sorted to the point where we don't have huge holes in it. It's in one piece. It's sealed. It's not going to leak exhaust anywhere other than the outside, you know, the back of the turbo, or the downpipe rather. And once I get that, you know, sorted and it's figured out and all that kind of stuff, then we can move on to other stuff. So that's where I'm at with this thing right now. But I'm still super stoked. It's a process, and hats off to you guys who do this for a living. I'm sure once you've done it for a few years, it's a lot easier. I don't. And so it's a bit of a challenge, not impossible, just a challenge. You know what I mean? So hats off to you guys who do this for a living, for sure. Seriously. Cause, I can only imagine when guys bring you hot messes of, setups and then expect you to make magic happen. I'm using junkyard parts and stuff laying around the garage. So hats off to you. But for those of you who are hesitant to do something like this, I mean, this Hobart machine I bought a couple years ago for, I think it was like $600. It was like a little starter kit. The wire's not terribly expensive. The hood and all that stuff. You could have everything ready to go for about $1,000. And most of y'all got more than that in guns. Yes, I'm talking to you. So if you have a project that you've been dilly-dallying on, or scared to do something new on, or try something, no more excuses, man. Like it's literally not going to do itself. It's just not. But here I am, giving it a good old college try. So turbo placement is what it be. I had shot a little short yesterday and took some photo. I might slip the picture in here because this turbo is significantly lower than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was about the top of the throttle body, maybe taller. And so this portion sloping where the hood would have been didn't allow it to shut. I got to picture of that too. I might slide in here. It's probably about an inch and a half or so just on this passenger side corner. So I was like, well, I need to chop it down and then kind of tilt the turbo forward just a hair to clear the hood. And now that I got that done more or less, we'll finalize the hot side one way or another. Because I also got like a misalignment from when I welded more stuff and the pipe moved, and man, it's a whole thing. But we'll get all that figured out. We'll get everything lined up nicely. We'll pull up the crossover pipe because it's actually a little lower than I want it to be. So I'll have to, you know, probably cut the bottom here and cut over here and then short about 1 inch or 2, maybe 3 inches, and pull it up. Just where it's just below the oil pan, and then tack that in place and then seal it up, or try to, and go from there. Like I said, it's a process. It's not a fast process, but it's a process. You kind of have to work backwards every now and then, but it's holding a turbo by itself, and that is huge. Well, the turbo's not huge, but the fact that it's holding, you got what I mean. So yeah, man, we're trucking right along, pun intended. If I can get the hot side done in the next week or two, like sealed up, ready to go, or sealed up and tested where it doesn't leak a whole lot of air and shit like that, we'll figure out what it actually does when the car is going down the road and how good my welds are, or will be. We'll see. But we're just gonna keep going with it. I think now that I have the hot side roughed in, I'll probably move the radiator. Move the radiator because the stock GTO radiator doesn't sit that low. I'll probably pull the top up here a little bit so it's not sitting so far inside the bumper, and pull it up into the engine bay just a hair, and then put the fan on it, kind of see where I'm at, permanently mount the radiator, and then figure out what my coolant lines are going to be routing wise. This isn't even a GTO radiator. This was a radiator I bought for 50 bucks, I think it was, on Marketplace, out of a off-road Jeep or something. Just a generic dual pass aluminum radiator, whatever. For $50, I'll take it. And resolve my oil pump, or my water pump, I'm sorry, my water pump issue. I'll either have to cut and modify the piping again, or run a remote mounted water pump, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And just run those individual inlet outlets in the front of the engine like some of the race cars run. Which might give me a little more flexibility on running the piping the way that I have it, and it'll free up the front of the car a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see, man. There's a lot of if, ands, maybes, or whatever, and go from there. So that's what I got for you today. It may not seem like a huge deal, but it's pretty big. We're moving right along here, albeit for the challenge, but we're moving. And should have the Durango's engine back probably end of this month. That's what the machine shop said, because they have the clearance to block and all that stuff, like I said in the last video, and it's not gonna be cheap. So as soon as they're done and they're happy with the clearancing and all the counterweights and all that stuff, they'll let me know it's ready for pickup. I'll pay them an arm and a leg probably to pick it up, and then we'll shift focus from the GTO to the Durango for the next couple episodes, because between the wife and the kids, everyone is very much ready for that car to run again, simply because it's just a lot more room for the kids, which, I mean, I'm in the driver's seat, so it's not my problem. They will learn today. But overall, the family's ready to ride in it because the Range Rover is a little bit less spacious in there. Again, not my problem when you're driving. But we'll see who is eager to get it running again when I'm out here, oh my God, in the morning, and it's 20 degrees out and nobody's helping, but everybody wants to ride in it. Dads out there know what I'm saying. So anyway, thanks again, and thanks for watching.